If you are anxious or dismissive avoidant in a relationship, if you find yourself caught in a cycle where one of you is constantly seeking closeness and proximity and wanting resolution and the other person's constantly pulling away, first of all, it is the most frustrating thing ever. So if you're here and you need some help, you should be looking for help so that you can get unlocked out of this holding pattern that's so painful and honestly so difficult, because when you really love and care about somebody and you feel like you just can't get to the bottom of things or create resolution about the things that you care about so much in your life and in relationships, those meaningful needs that you're waiting to get understood by your partner, or the things that they're doing that are actually hurting you and you just want a little bit of empathy, we should be able to navigate these things with ease, with grace, but we don't get taught these tools growing up. And so in today's mini masterclass, we are going to cover exactly that. I'm going to take you through 5 crucial steps that will allow you to argue or disagree without it causing a rupture. And in fact, will actually bring you closer together, especially if you do these things correctly. And it will honestly change how you see conflict for the rest of your life. And I'm one of the biggest believers, as somebody who personally used to be a fearful avoidant attachment style and really struggled with conflict, really struggled with communication. Learning how to communicate properly over the past almost 15 years of doing this work has literally been one of the most life-changing things. And I just want to be able to share that with you here today. If you're new here, my name is Gibson. Welcome. I've been in this field of working with over tens of thousands of clients over the past much more than a decade, specifically in private practice and in our own group coaching platforms that we've developed online for people to come in. And I'm here to share with you in these daily mini masterclass series the most powerful insights for deep inner healing from your own childhood and how to actually learn your attachment and relationship dynamics so that you can thrive. Because relationships do not have to be hard. The problem is that most people are at a deficit going into relationships if you didn't have healthy modeling yourself in childhood. So I'm going to share with you what more than a decade, closer to 15 years of research, and then another 12, 13 years within that time frame of helping people navigate these relational dynamics really looks like and how we can thrive. Okay. So there's 5 major steps, and I promise you this will change how you see conflict. Okay. So here's the first thing you need to know. In order to do conflict appropriately, you need to know your triggers. And if you don't know what's actually triggering you in a relationship, then it's hard to communicate and convey it, and then you're not going to be understood. So specifically to the anxious and dismissive avoidant dynamic, I'll tell you the biggest triggers. And this is according to integrated attachment theory. This is the body of work that we published about 12 years ago on all the different core wounds from each attachment style. And here's the first set, okay? So anxious attachment styles, their biggest core wounds in relationships, the things that trigger them the most are if they feel abandoned, obviously, unloved, not good enough, if they feel like they are not important, okay, if they feel unseen or unheard, and if they feel unsafe, emotionally unsafe when somebody pulls away is huge, and if they feel alone or excluded, okay? So these are the biggest core wounds according to integrated attachment theory that we've published. Dismissive avoidance, on the flip side here, their biggest wounds, the things that set them off, trigger them the most, are if they feel defective or shameful. Okay, they have a lot of internalized shame from their own childhood. You won't see it because they're very stoic, but that's a huge piece. Then you'll see them feel trapped very easily. Okay, this core wound of, oh my gosh, I'm going to be trapped. And so they're constantly trying to create distance and space. Okay, I am weak is another huge fear for them if they're vulnerable. I am misunderstood. They frequently feel misunderstood in relationship dynamics and experience a lot of pain and suffering around that. Also unsafe. They don't like conflict, and this fear of being helpless. And you'll hear the manifestation of the helplessness core wound for dismissive avoidance when they say, why bother? You know, oh, who cares? And people say those things. They say, oh, why bother? Who cares? Let's stop trying. When they're stuck in freeze state as a result of learned helplessness. So when they feel like there's literally nothing they can do because they can't see a way out of something, dismissive avoidance in particular, they get relief by just shutting down and pushing away. Okay. Now, it's just helpful to maybe note those things down. We have, this is going to be a month-long series of mini masterclasses on this channel. So you're welcome to subscribe to this channel if you're not already, and we'll talk about how to navigate triggers and how to actually rewire triggers, leveraging neuroplasticity. in future masterclasses this month, but you can just keep it short and sweet for now. Okay. So just knowing and putting a language to the things that get under your skin, hurt you the most, affect you greatly. Like this is really powerful and meaningful to do. Now, the next thing is if you're in a disagreement with somebody or an argument and you can feel yourself, you can feel that emotion in your body, that like frustration heating up in that moment, it is very meaningful to practice a somatic processing skill. Okay. So when you feel the emotion rise up in your body, sometimes it's heat in your stomach and your torso. Sometimes it's hollowness in your chest and torso if you're feeling sad, or a heaviness. One of the best things that you can do is practice somatic processing. What somatic processing means is you want to practice as soon as you feel something to get really attuned to the sensations happening in your body. There was a study done where they took participants and they put them into fMRI scanners and they had them actually recall triggering experiences. And then the researcher said, okay, now I want you to witness your emotions and describe the sensations in your body. So label the emotions, label the sensations. And what the researchers found is that as soon as participants were able to describe the sensations in their body and actually somatically process the emotions or to notice them, all of a sudden they went out of this story in their mind where they were triggered by their own thoughts and their own past experiences and the way that they had stored it. And by coming back and getting present in their bodies, it actually created a de-escalating effect. And they actually saw this on brain scans where suddenly all this brain activity went back up into the neocortex, which has regions like our prefrontal cortex responsible for logic and analytical processing, and out of this amygdala activation state. And so this was very, very beneficial. And it's actually called affect labeling. And it's a tool that we can use to somatically process to get back into our bodies. There's a lot more that we could talk about in somatic processing, and we will cover some of these things this month, but it's a really powerful place to start. Okay. Now here's tip number 3. We start to bring these things together. So we're able to witness our emotions, not get so bought into this trigger. Oh my gosh, I'm excluded, or I'm not good enough, or I'm trapped, because we're just staying present in our bodies and noticing the sensations. And then we're able to actually put language to what we're feeling. Oh, I'm feeling anger and it's because I feel trapped, or I'm feeling sad and it's because I feel abandoned, right? So we want to be able to start speaking of these things. But when we do, and this is so important, and this is really your step number 3, you need to stick to one topic per conversation. Okay. If you say, I'm feeling upset about these last 9 things that happened, you will spin your wheels in any kind of conflict and you'll never be able to solve anything, because you can't possibly engage in a conversation with somebody where they're telling you 9 different things at once and have one answer to deal with all 9 of those problems. It's not possible, because each of those 9 situations will be individual and unique. And one of the things that people fall into as a trap is getting stuck here because they aren't able to properly name these things. Now, if you are somebody who is caught in intermittent reinforcement, wants to move through it, wants to come out of it, one of the best things you want to start by doing is regulating your nervous system. And I have a free gift for you that we're doing just for a limited time. It is a course all about nervous system regulation and somatic processing of emotions. It will help you feel secure, safe, and connected to yourself. It's one of our 6 major pillars of healing your attachment style. And it's literally for free with our 7-day free trial access to the Personal Development School. And you can check it out down below. Steps 4 and 5 is a framework that I've always used for couples to actually navigate challenging situations. And you can think of this as each person needs their perspective validated and heard, and each person needs a need expressed and strategized for. So you can think of this as perspective, need. And you could even think of it, if you wanted to reframe it, as validation, need. Like the person needs validation of their perspective. So let's say that there's a disagreement between these two. And we have the anxious person who, when they feel, they're missing consistency in communication, they become slightly critical and they say, like, do you even care? Like, I try so hard, you're not trying. And let's say they have this sort of minor form of criticism that shows up in the way that they're communicating. And let's say the dismissive avoidant receives that communication as critical and it triggers their core wound of being defective and shameful, and it causes a dismissive avoidant to want to retreat. Now we have a dynamic where the anxious attachment style was hurt first by the dismissive avoidance behavior, but then the delivery the anxious attachment style used in turn hurt the dismissive avoidant, and now they're locked in a holding pattern, which I call trigger cycles. And once they have this trigger cycle, there's one way you get out of it, and literally one way. And it is to have each person's perspective or feeling validated and then their need expressed. So it would look like this. The anxious attachment style, it might say to that person, hey, I notice you pulling away more and I'm feeling very hurt right now. What I'm really needing is to know that you care and to have a little bit more consistency if we can work towards that. Okay, so here what they did. They first started by expressing what they were experiencing emotionally. Hey, I'm feeling a little bit hurt. And here's what I'm needing. Okay. Now what this did is it avoided the anxious attachment style from negative framing, where they said, you're not trying, do you even care? That's not productive. It is productive to tell somebody, this is what I'm feeling right now and experiencing, and here's what I'm needing. And when we can flip this around, then we can have the other person express what they're feeling and needing. So in turn, the dismissive avoidant might say, okay, I can work towards that. I may not be perfect, but also I need you to be mindful in your delivery because that hurts me too. And if they can say, I need you to be mindful in your delivery when you communicate, it doesn't feel good for me either to receive information in that way, then all of a sudden, both people got to express their feelings. Both people got to express their needs. And you can think of it being their feelings, AKA their perspective, like their own personal emotional experience, and then their needs. And all of a sudden, when both people feel seen and heard, exactly what they need to feel like the situation is solved for is actually expressed. Now we have a constructive ability to resolve things, okay? Because what your needs were are expressed. And you can think of it this way if you don't know. Think of it as like, what do I need to feel relief? If you don't know, this is going to be your approach, okay? So both people's perspectives and feelings were expressed. Both people talked about what their needs are. Now we have a productive set of steps forward that's loud and clear, like very simple, very clean cut from both people. And we just need a little bit of validation. Hey, yeah, I can see that my delivery wasn't great there. I'm sorry. Hey, yeah, I can see that consistency is important to you, and I'm sorry I haven't been as consistent this week. If we can have an acknowledgement of those things, of how one another are feeling in that, then all of a sudden we have that validation of perspective and we have the expression of needs with a strategy. And this is actually our framework, really covering those two parts that then allow us to healthily resolve conflicts. Now, as I mentioned before, we have a whole course on this. We can dive into this in so much detail. There's worksheets and practice. This is at a very high level, obviously, because people don't usually watch like hour-long videos on YouTube. But I'm hoping that this is really helpful for you. I'm hoping that this gave you the ability to understand, like, okay, that's what a conflict actually is, because people think that they're arguing about being right and wrong, but they're actually arguing about feeling seen and heard and understood by the people they love. And it's painful when that's not happening or there for them. And so this is how we solve for it. So I hope this is helpful for you today. I'm really excited to be sharing this with you. This is our month of relationships. We're going to be talking about all the different attachment style pairings and dynamics. And make sure, if you want to see all of the relationship content we have coming out this month, you like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, especially so that you are notified when our new content pops up. And the last thing I'll say as a special announcement is that I am starting, because of so many requests from people, I am starting to do a live stream podcast. So it's going to be every Wednesday and Saturday. And on this live stream podcast, we're going to be going through and doing exercises together. So I'll actually be, joining in here with you. We'll do live exercises. I hope you join me, and really excited to share that with you. And yeah, thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you soon.